All right, welcome back to Fright Flicks. This is Mike.
This is Nate.
And on this episode, we're going to be doing a review for the film that we wish we would have been able to see two fucking years ago now. It's been a long time coming. Eli Roth's return to horror, The Green Inferno.
It's hard to live up to 2 years of build-up. And it's not that Eli Roth has spent the last 2 years campaigning about this is the greatest movie ever.
True.
But everybody heard what it was about. We saw stills, all this promotional stuff. It looked awesome, and then nothing. We just don't get it for 2 years. It goes on the shelf.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, and also it's like it's more than 2 years if you think about it, because like I was thinking, Hostel 2 came out in 2006, so we've been waiting for Eli Roth to return to directing, and then 2 years on top of that. So what did you think after all this time?
It wasn't exactly what I expected.
Okay.
And I guess I didn't know what I expected.
Okay.
I was trying to think of another way to say this over like the last week, but I think there's any other way to say this was I was surprised at how much fun it was. I am workingly familiar with most of the cannibal epics that inspired this movie. I haven't seen them all because I don't like them. There's real animal murder and mutilation in some of them. They're all real super rapey, prolonged torture sequences, just like in some instances coming across like a real snuff movie. Not my cup of tea. I don't dig on those kind of movies. So as much as I was, the new Eli Roth, he's gonna go berserk with it, with everything that had come before it, I'm like, you know what, I'm not super psyched about seeing that. He took a lot of those elements and I guess cleaned them up.
Sure.
Is a good way to say it, but in a good way. I don't mean, he sanitized it and he made it mainstream. This is something that was so ugly and raw, it could use a little cleaning up.
And we talked about this last week. I have not seen, as best I can figure, any of these cannibal movies. Cannibal movies are a subgenre of horror that I do not dig on at all. I am not like this at all, but I do not watch Cannibal Holocaust. I have never seen it, and I've wanted to, and people have told me that I should. The animal mutilation thing, not for it.
Yeah, it's a deal breaker.
Life is too short. Every other horror fan has seen Cannibal Holocaust. Maybe I'll just be that guy. I haven't seen any of them. So I was excited. I was like, oh, cool. I was pretty excited about all of it, and I totally get what you mean now having seen it, of the fun or the excitement aspect that you were talking about. Like, I thought when you said that it was going to be more of an escape movie, and of course there's a tiny bit of that towards the end, but it's like they really managed to never pull that snuff film tone. It was always like, I would call it almost a more hardcore version of Temple of Doom.
Yeah, it's a difference of intent, because there's still gore in it, and there's still cannibalism in it.
It doesn't hold back on that, right?
Right, that's all still there, but the intent is different, because these cannibal movies, usually they intend to be disgusting or upsetting.
Sure.
With this movie, beneath all the gore, I believe Eli Roth was actually trying to make a scary movie. Mm-hmm. And the gore and all the bad things that happen, it's to put you in the right mindset. And you're with these people in this cage in the middle of nowhere with no hope of being rescued, surrounded by cannibals. That's a terrifying situation.
Right. Just
waiting for your turn to die. That was his intent. He wanted to scare the shit out of us. So, is he successful? Well, I don't know, but I appreciate the effort.
Sure, yeah. In this movie, I noticed something as I was watching it that I haven't had in a while that usually comes along with movies that I think are genuinely scary. Now, this movie didn't scare me in that way, but it got this going in me, which I picked a character once shit started going down, and I was like, that's my surrogate. And so it's like, it's this weird thing that I don't know if other people do it. I only became conscious this time that I do that, where I'm like, I want to see how bad my fate would be, because it was like, oh, that character acts like I do, and you know what I mean? Do you do that?
I've never done that before, but I may start.
Yeah, no, and it just,
I'm a borderline sociopath, so I don't identify with anybody that I see in anything. I'm overstating things.
Yeah. Well, no, I know what you mean too. It's just the desensitized nature that we've gotten from watching horror movies, so that's kind of why I guess I do it,
right,
to try and find a more emotional connection to things. Anyway, so funny enough, I originally chose the guy with the beard who, anyway, he ends up being, he survives for quite a while. So I was like, yeah, good for me. And then his death was horrible. So I was like, oh, damn. And then halfway through, I was like, had an emotional moment where I was like, actually, you know what? I think I actually am more the asshole character. Like, I really think I would be doing this kind of stuff. Unfortunately. No, I thought it was all really exciting. And one of the things I really liked, and this could split people, how do you feel about it? I really missed Eli Roth and really felt at home in the first, like, 40 minutes. I love how Eli Roth gives you in tone and everything. He doesn't really, other than the fact that you know it's a horror movie, there's no sense of dread. There's no sense of, like, the opening doesn't have cannibals murdering people to set you up. He totally just gives you a movie and then changes it on you. Like, I love that.
Well, he's always been confident enough not to rush, to get through that first act and just use it to set up all his characters and, you know, get everything moving like you're supposed to do. And a lot of filmmakers, and I'm not even knocking them for this, they jump the gun. They don't want to wait that first 30 minutes to get the ball rolling. So we do flashbacks and quick cuts and jump forwards, and he doesn't. He just starts with, hey, this is the gang of idiots you're about to watch die.
Yeah, he doesn't even really foreshadow and stuff either.
No.
Yeah, he totally plays
Well, you know what he did in Hostel, though, which is why Hostel is my favorite of his movies.
What, are you talking about the opening credit sequence in Hostel?
No, like so many things in the first act mirror what happens in the third act.
Oh, well, yeah, setups and payoffs. Yeah. I mean, those definitely happen. But, like, Hostel and this, like, even their musical cues, their tones, like, everybody's all heading on. It's basically, he does this thing where it's like, nobody's thoughts are anywhere other than this college frat boy movie. And then in this one, an environmental, almost romance movie, in a way. And then their movie gets interrupted by the horror, just like, you know, the story does. And I miss that. And it's not nothing against Ty West. It's not the Ty West slow burn. It's like, seriously, just horror interrupts everyday life.
Oh, yeah, there's... I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of the comedy? You know, Eli Roth always throws in his comedy.
Well, you know, that's actually sort of essential to why I ended up liking Green Inferno as much as I did, was I didn't expect it. It is by no means a comedy, but there are a couple of comedic moments in it and a little bit of stoner humor.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me because, like I said, that I had fun watching this movie. It was unexpected. Although it shouldn't have been, because never before, and this is, I'm probably overlooking something, but I can't remember the last time that we spent the first 30 minutes getting to know such a group of insufferable douchebags.
Right.
Who I hated, all of them, across the board.
True.
Like, the kinds of characters that, you know, and this is nothing against the actors, they were being exactly who they were supposed to be.
Right.
And they were supposed to be douchebags. So it's an unusual choice. Usually you want to evoke an emotional response where people bond with your characters. In his opening sequences, he generates an emotional response that made me dislike all of the but it was still a response. You know, I still remember the characters and why I disliked them for different reasons. And, you know, as they get into the thick of the shit later, as irritating as they were, things had progressed too far and I knew they didn't deserve it. It's not like I was rooting for them to die.
Sure.
But it took me a long time to get to root for any of them to live. Yeah. Because the tribesmen were they were freaking awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really cool that I would say that I like the main girl and I like the main girl's roommate. She's actually played by a, you know, musician whose song plays in the end credits, which I have stuck in my head as we speak still. And this is very obvious that he gives us all these people who are really unlikable. Although I wonder, if you were one of those kind of people, would you find them sympathetic? I wonder. I don't know.
It's
they
possible.
Still seem like assholes.
Although it seems like the characters in this movie would probably hate Eli Roth movies on general principle.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. But anyway, so I thought it was really cool that, you don't root for them to die. That's something. As much as you hate them, that says something. But two, that he really does almost more take the side of the tribes people in a slight way of just not villainizing them.
Well, you know what? They're villains for the majority of the movie, and then just like some unexpected humor comes up, there's this unexpected shift in tone, which I'm not even sure even really works for me. I just liked it because I didn't see it coming, where it does give you a bigger perspective on the tribes people and how, well, you know what? They're evil to this group of idiots because they're the food. Right. But in the larger context, they're not particularly evil. No. You see them getting picked off by another, even greater evil.
And so I think it just gives that that whole like conflicting thing that horror movies tend to just make a little too easy, is either you're rooting for them to die or you're rooting for them to live. This movie has this really great gray area where it's like, oh, I totally get, like, that's what's gonna fucking happen if you walk into somebody's house, like any of these backwoods things, how like I kind of think the Sawyers aren't so evil other than their outwardly evil ways. Like if they were played more like down whatever, it's like, oh, I kind of get it. They got fired from their job, had to resort to cannibalism, and then just turned crazy. But anyway, so they're all like nice and cute and have their little thing, and then the munchie scene, which that was the only Eli Roth bit of humor that I thought was a bit too much. But I mean, it all made sense. And so really the only person who survives, I can say that, this is a horror movie, we all know only one person survives. I think, well, that's the part I think that might be a do you think it was setting up for a sequel too, by the way?
It certainly seemed that it was.
But I didn't give a shit enough about that character that I'm like, why do I want to see a sequel about him?
And you know what? We've been heaping on the praise pretty good, because this movie, there's a lot of good things to say about it. I will say that I did hate the ending. And I mean like the last 2 minutes. Hated it. The little like Marvel credit stinger to set up a sequel.
That's what I didn't like.
I hated
like,
that
as
well.
That?
So it was just like, at the end, it sort of fell flat, but I really enjoyed it up till that point.
Yeah, I just didn't like the end credit stinger. The other part I liked. I liked that Eli Roth would give such a like strangely like happy, I don't agree with it, even what she did. I'm like, why the fuck would you? Actually, I kind of get it, but whatever. That's besides the point. It gets the talking point.
Yeah.
That's all good. The literally Marvel credit stinger. I'm like, dude, seriously? I don't even give a shit about that character. Like, why?
No.
Anyway, so Green Inferno 2, fucking asshole boogaloo.
Right, we'll be out in 15 years.
Yeah, right. So overall, what would you give Green Inferno?
I think, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10, which is a pretty strong score. And like the way things are shaping up, I know we've got a few months left in the year, but I would put this probably at like 5 or 6 of my top horror movies of the year.
Yeah, I would give it a 7, but I think it would go a little bit higher on my tops of the year. I do want to see it again. And it's not just Eli Roth. Like, I think I may have missed some more like fun themes and stuff like that are going on in it. You know what I mean? Because the ending does seem really out of place.
It
but
does.
It's like, oh, maybe I'll agree or disagree more when I watch it the second time, not just as...
Well, you know, wasn't there like some sort of deal where it was co-funded in Peru and he was working with some other people because he made a couple of movies down there?
Yeah.
Maybe that ending is in place not for Eli Roth to come back and make another one, but to set it up as a potential franchise for somebody else to do.
Sure.
You know? Because there you go. It's set up. There's a natural lead-in for a Green Inferno 2. Eli Roth can maybe collect a check for a producer credit, not do anything. I don't know. The guy tends to always be looking forward, even though he's not very prolific. I do find him to be a very good businessman.
Yeah,
you know?
Very true.
I like what he does for horror, even though I don't like all of his movies.
Very true. Okay, so that would be a recommend. Go ahead and check it out here from The Horror, and we will see you very soon with more movie reviews. We've got some backed up in the pipeline. We're going to start shooting through to you guys. We'll be back to you guys very soon, and we will see you later.